Live from Abuja, the nation's capital, this is the Polity. The Polity is a political program that takes a deep dive into unfolding political events within Nigeria and many parts of the world. My name is Macualey, Hunohashi, welcoming all our esteemed viewers from across the globe for joining us on the Polity. We're going to be discussing the Edo State election that is slated to, take place tomorrow, the 21st of September 2024. Today being Friday, it is the eve of the election and it is crunch time. Joining me in the studio is no other person than our own very John Okoro, a strategic communicator and editor and anchor of KAFTANTV's Abuja file, as well as our in-house analyst. John, thank you for joining me today to take a look at the Edo election that's slated for tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Macualey, and thank you, viewers, for being there.
Well, in the course of the show, we're going to open our telephone line so that our numerous viewers, that our partners out there can begin to call in so that they can share their thoughts with us and their opinion to make the program interactive and, exciting and conversational. John, let's start. This is crunch time. Today is Friday. All eyes are on Edo State. The entire media houses are talking about Edo election. The police have deployed 35,000 personnel to ensure that the security of life and property. INEC has concluded arrangements. Sensitive and non-sensitive materials have already arrived and been distributed in Edo State across the local government areas. I've listened to Yaga Africa executive president and founder, that is Barrister Itodo. He did speak about election observers, both domestic and international. Everything seemed to be set for Edo State election, governorship election. You are a media personality. You have kept tap on the trajectory leading to the election tomorrow. Give us an overview of, let's start from there, an overview of what you are hearing from people on ground and what you've been reading in the media as well.
Yeah, thank you very much once again, Macualey. To start with, Edo State is one of the off-cycle elections in the country. Normally we have our general elections, then you have the off-cycle elections, mostly governorship elections, whose timetable had to be changed because of pronouncements of different courts, and Edo State is one of them. And very soon again, we are still going to be going to Ondo State for another off-cycle election. That is one. Then two, while Edo State has been in the news for several reasons, the election, because of the numerous interests, in that election. We know we have the ruling PDP, that is the ruling party in the state. They also have the ruling party at the center, the APC, having a very serious interest, led by the former governor who has actually been leading the APC's campaign in Edo State there. Then definitely you have the Labour Party, represented by the former national president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Apata, the barrister Apata. And then you have other parties too, because we've been finding it difficult to even hear about the candidates of other parties. So we could say, yes, on paper we have about 17 parties vying for this election.
That's right.
But at least the three most visible ones are the ruling party in the state, the PDP, then the APC, and then the Labour Party. Now, as you see, during the campaign, it's been about issues, as it has always been in Nigeria. Anytime these elections are coming, you see the contestants going to the people, statewide tour, nationwide tour, trying to sell their manifesto to the people in order to attract them to vote for their candidates. And there hasn't actually been a change. If you look at the trajectory of the campaign trail in terms of what the candidates are promising the people, it's all the same thing. It's about, we build road for you, we provide you with water. That has been the kind of mantra of our candidates ever since in Nigeria. So because basically it's like we are still within that bracket where it's about roads, it's about water. If you go back to the previous election cycles, whether in Edo State or even elsewhere in the country, you see the mantra is the same thing. We provide you road, we provide you water, provide you this, and provide it. That is it. So nothing more and nothing less. And however, it is now left for the people to say, okay, from the campaign that we've heard, from we've seen, maybe this party has something that may be interesting to us. Let's choose the person. But however, the most maybe pressing issue in Edo State today in terms of the election is security. You know, the fear of violence, because, you know, you can see the fiery rhetorics that have been going on, even the governor saying that this election is the do or die affair, based on the fact that the ruling party in Edo State is, you know, is a little bit, would I call it, worried that the federal might be deployed, you know, to maybe intimidate voters or something. Hence, even if you look at the number of the policemen and other security personnel being deployed to the state, you know, sometimes you wonder, is it just because of the election? But, you know, if you ask the security agency, they will tell you it's okay, because of the fear of violence, that is why we have to deploy this number of people to the state. So, but the issue of free, fair, and credible election, and then a violence-free election is very, very vital in terms of the authorities. I'm talking about INEC here, I'm talking about the security agencies here, providing a level playing ground for every contestant, so that the people can come out without being afraid that they are going to be assaulted or intimidated, and come out and vote for the candidate of their choice without any fear of molestation. I think that should be the main ingredient, you know, of that particular election, so that all these fiery rhetorics that we've heard during the campaign will not in any way rear its ugly head, so that the greatest fear, the biggest fear of the people will not come up, because everybody is afraid that, oh, maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen, because of the rhetorics we've been hearing during the election time and during the campaign period. But for me, if you ask me, I know that the good people of Edo State will always elect for a peaceful election. In fact, in 2020, when Obaseki was vying for his second term, you know, there was also this kind of fear of violence. But at the end of the day, that election came, and that election could be described as one of the best ever, you know, in this country, in the 2020 election that brought Obaseki back for a second time. So I also believe that we are still going to have the same peaceful election, but an appeal will also go out there to the security agencies. The work there in Edo State is to go and keep the peace, and nothing more, nothing less. Let nobody be seen to be partisan. Let no state agent, state institution, whether it is INEC, whether it is the police, be seen to be partisan in any way. Even the perception, even that we are hearing, that we now hear, oh, maybe in such a place, in such a local government, in such a world, that they saw some policemen doing this and doing that in favor of a different candidate. We shouldn't even hear, because these are the things that sometimes bring about all these problems of people protesting or violence. But once the perception is that this election is free and nobody is going to favor anybody, people will come out and vote and go home freely and go home peacefully and wait for the result of the election. And when the results are announced, people will accept it, because they have seen that the process was free, it was fair, it was credible, it was balanced. But when people now start suspecting that there's been some kind of thing done to help some candidate because of their connection to the power or to this, then that is where sometimes trouble starts.
Well, the three major candidates that are in the spotlight are coming with enviable pedigree, so to speak. The governorship candidate of the PDP is a lawyer, and that of the Labour Party is equally a lawyer, and that of the APC is a serving senator. So you cannot say he's a neophyte or a greenhorn in politics. But, you know, talking about the voting population of Edo State, you know, the southern senatorial zone is said to be having 52% of, is it 52%?
About that.
About
at least they have,
so more than half of
the majority.
Exactly. How much of an advantage could that be? You know, in addition to factors playing in his favor, you know, coming from the south, and this groundswell of the Labour Party led by Peter Obi, you know, it has not, it simmered down, so to speak. How much of an advantage is that?
Yeah, you know, see,
and then considering also the infighting between the PDP and the APC.
You know, understanding the dynamics of Edo politics as it is now, you find out, okay, you have the Edo North made up of the Isako, the area they call the Afemai, then you have the Edo Central, then the Ishan speaking people, then we now come to the Edo South, which is the Benin speaking people. Now, like you said, yes, the Benin speaking people of Edo South, yes, have some slight majority in terms of population, voting population, and so on and so forth. However, I can also say that they are also the swing zone, if you want to use that word. You know, like in the US, you have the swing states. Yeah. You know, if you get those states, you are sure, at least as good as that, you're going to win. So any person who could actually get a huge proportion of the vote from Edo South might actually be on his way to maybe capturing the Dennis Osadebe's house, that is the governor's office. However, as I was saying before, the dynamics of Edo State election, you know, is going to play out in this particular election. Okay. It's not, yes, I know that Akpata is from Edo South, and also, you know, the riding on the wave of the success of the Labour Party during the 2023 general elections. However, national election is different from state election. You understand? Because those dynamics that might propel a candidate to become popular at the national level during the presidential election may not be the same dynamics that may also propel a candidate to be popular within a state election. And there are a lot of examples to prove it, which I might not dive into now. However, if you look at the way it is stationed now, one of the problems that Philip Shoaibu had with his principal, the governor, was the fact that he wanted to contest. But they said, okay, you know, at least there's a consensus in the state, because in Nigeria, because of the multi-ethnic configuration of the country, it is believed that if you don't use this issue of rotational power, or maybe is it a rotational powers, you know, in terms of rotational arrangement, that maybe the people who have the majority will always continue to dominate. So in order to bring about a balanced situation, a balanced platform, you know, there has always been this gentlemanly agreement that when this particular zone is done, let it go to this zone in order to maintain fairness and balance. Yep. And that is also playing out now in Edo State. Because, like I said before, Philip Shoaibu had an issue with Obaseki because he had the ambition to become a governor, but he is from the Edo North. And they said, okay, you know, currently everybody is saying there's a consensus that governorship in Edo State now, for the sake of balance, you know, for the sake of equity and fairness, should go to Edo Central. That is the Asian-speaking people. Yeah. Because Oshomole was the governor from Edo North for 8 years. You know, then came Obaseki from Edo South for 8 years now. And you, being a deputy governor for up to almost 8 years, so why do you now want to go and do another, why do you want to come out and contest? Even though it is a right, but because of this gentlemanly agreement, in order to create fairness, you know, it's like in the polity, so hence this issue of rotational arrangement, so that these people will do, and he found out that it works in a multi-ethnic area. There are some places in this country today that actually, some states in this country that may actually need to, you understand, come out with this kind of arrangement again, because there are some states in this country that only one particular zone have been ruling them as governors, simply because they're in the majority, you know, to the detriment of other smaller areas in those states. So, but you see, like in those states, they say, no, we'll not take it this way, you understand, let's arrange it. And there was a consensus. That is why the PDP nominated somebody from Edo Central, in the person of Asu Ighodalo. And also the APC too nominated somebody again from Edo Central. It is only in the Labour Party that you have somebody from elsewhere, which is also his right. But the dynamics will play out. But the fact remains that whether it is the PDP or whether the APC that will clinch the ticket or that will clinch that position of the governor or the state, then there's a need that you also get a buy-in from voters in Edo South, because Edo South is a swing zone in the state as far as winning election is concerned because of their population. But whether Akpata, who is from Edo South, is going to carry the day, time will tell. But I know the dynamics of Edo State is pointing toward the central part of the state to produce the next governor.
Okay. Tomorrow, there's going to be only one election in the entire, length and breadth of the country, and that is the Edo governorship election. INEC's arsenal has been deployed. In security, the police has deployed 35,000, personnel led by a DIG, Deputy Inspector General of Police, Frank Mba. And people are saying, I've heard many people say, this election is going to be a litmus test. And I'm thinking, it's the only election that is coming up where, the entire, we have less than 400,000
apparatus of states.
Even the army, is there.
Deployed to those
How
states.
could that be described as a litmus test? Going by, the fact that it is the only election that is going to take place.
The election policing, election security, and election management in this country, it hasn't really picked up to reflect the civil nature of our democracy. And the reason is that public office, whether it's governorship, whether it's the office of the governor, or that of the president, or local government chairman, and any other public office, is seen as juicy, is seen as very lucrative. That is why people virtually go to war to clinch these offices. And we've seen this play out in numerous elections where people deploy violence to achieve the electoral aims. So over the years, the only counterweight to election-related violence is to deploy security, because if it happens, they will say, oh, you didn't deploy security. So at least to be on the safer side, you better err on the side of caution. It's better for you to be wrong on the side of caution than not to do anything at all. So when this issue of deploying security personnel to go and man elections, became a very big issue, the security agency, the government will always tell you, okay, if we don't do so, what do you expect us to do? Because of the fear of violence, and that could be said to be the principal reason. Sometimes again, people are also, looking at it as a way of trying to exert the authority of the state. In certain, that is why when leading up to this election, you could hear the governor of Edo State shouting, the PD between the states shouting, even though they didn't sign the peace accord because of, the no love lost between the state and the police. Because they have been saying, even the INEC itself, because the state have been complaining that, oh, what they are seeing, there seem to be some kind of things going on the ground in the state. Some of the members have been arrested. Maybe they want to intimidate them so that maybe during the election, on the election day, their own voters will not be allowed to come and vote, and maybe the people at the center will come and, all those kind of things, because of lack of confidence in state institutions. But ordinarily, if we view elections as a simple civic responsibility where nobody has to die, where you don't have to deploy, where people can actually come and vote and go back to their offices. Because for today in Edo State is public holiday in preparation. But it's not supposed to be so. Ordinarily, even on election day, you can put election even on a working day, and traffic will still go on. People will still go to work. People will still go to the market, and you just go and do your vote. Even in other countries like in the UK, look at just had an election recently. America is due to have an election November 5. Did you hear that on that particular day that the whole country stopped?
No.
But from midnight today, the state will be under interdiction.
Yeah.
You cannot enter, you cannot go. And you're going to continue until after the election. Yeah. And you see, so it's not supposed to be that. It is simply because our democratic culture hasn't been well established because of our perception of public office as being juicy and lucrative. So it is like mafia. It's like, mafia is about territorial control. If a mafia is within this territory, he wouldn't want another person to come and take over the territory because of the interest. And it will only be about war, fight. And that is exactly what happens in the country in an election. That's why during every election, whether it's at the general election level or the state level, even local government level, you will see tension everywhere. Tension. You hear about fight, you hear about violence, you hear about all sorts of things going on. It's not supposed to be so. Election should be very simple. It's part of but we have not imbibed or developed that democratic culture. That is why we have to deploy this number of policemen and all other security personnel to go and man a single election.
So it can't be a litmus test.
It's not a litmus test. The litmus test is for the agency, the electoral empire,
to be transparent.
To be transparent. Do what they're supposed to do.
Election should be credible.
Credible.
Exactly.
Violent free. Let there be no perception that somebody is helping another person because of the person's connection. Let it not be.
Okay. We're going to open our telephone line now at this auspicious time so that our numerous viewers, our vibrant callers, can begin to call in. It is right there on your screen. Please begin to call in so that you can be a part of the show by sharing your thought with us about EDO Election 2024. It is your show, like I always say. John, the people of Edo State have attained, great feats, greater heights in human endeavor. There are professors, lawyers, engineers. Some of them have won election even in the UK, But, during the run-up to the campaigns, right through the campaigns, I waited to listen to vibrant and robust issues-based campaigns. But, I stand to be corrected. What I heard were rather vituperative comments, apocalyptic comments, name callings, and things like that. And with Akpata, the Labour, I'm not here to campaign for anybody anyway, or to demarcate any candidate. But I've read through his manifesto. It is robust, so to speak. But we are here talking about federal might rather than issues-based. And then, like you mentioned earlier, the candidate of the PDP, that's the ruling party in the state, and the leadership refused to turn up to sign the peace accord. Even the debate that was organized, they didn't turn up. It was only Akpata that turned up. What's your reaction to that?
Yes.
Two questions in one now.
Yes, taking it from the issue of content in terms of what to have to offer to the people. You take it back even to the parties themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you look at the ideologies in terms of political ideologies, because the parties are simply vehicles
to get to destination.
To get to that destination of power. And at the foundation of the political party, that's where you should have everything. So parties should have ideas. Ideas, long-lasting, stable ideas, that people can predict.
Yeah.
That the voters know that if this party comes to power, this is going to be their focus in terms of, because everything is about development. Everything about governance is about coming out with strategies, with policies, that would improve the lives of the people. That's what it's all about. That is what governance is all about. That's what party politics is all about. That's what party ideology is all about. That is what party manifesto is all about. It's not about the playing to the gallery. It's not about all the razzmatazz of campaigns. It's not about. It's about, getting to the people those things that they need to survive. Okay.
Let's take this caller. You're our first caller today. Good afternoon. You're on to the Polity on KAFTAN television. Please go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling you from Abuja.
Okay, Dickens John Darlington, I remember the name very, very vividly. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yes, we are happy that the elections for Edo will come short.
Okay.
But we see the agencies that are involved.
Darlington, please turn down the volume of your television.
We pray that the agencies that are involved in these elections will do the needful. They have to be neutral, not to be seen to be favoring any of the political parties. That's where you will have a free and fair and credible election. Anything outside that, if the agencies did not play to the game of free and fair election, they are banned.
Okay.
So we are just pleading with the agencies. Let them, the security agencies, these are the 5,000 of the 5,000 that has been deployed. Let them be neutral. The military, the INEC, please, we will plead with them. The good citizens of Edo State are ready to elect their government tomorrow. And they will be happy that the election will be free, fair, and credible. And we know that the good people of Edo State are not violent. It is only when you tend to bring violence to them, they'll give it back to That's all we are pleading.
Thank you.
And we pray that the election will be very peaceful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darlington. Darlington has re-echoed what you earlier said.
Exactly.
But I've also gone through, reports that indicated that this election is going to be a war or a battle, particularly between two forces, the Obeseke forces and as well protege of Senator Adams of Shomole.
Yes.
Should it be war? Because that is why people are talking about federal might.
Exactly.
And when you talk about federal might, you may not be wrong, because the federal government that controls the party at the center has the police, controls the security agencies, controls INEC, even the polling booths belong to them. I want you to answer this question, but let's take this caller. John. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity. You're on, please.
It's not about the election being free and fair.
Okay.
The people there that are coming out as the governor, leader.
Can you turn down the volume? Turn down the volume of your TV. Turn down the volume and then continue.
Excuse me, sorry.
Go ahead, madam.
Please.
Go ahead. You're making a very valid point. Go ahead.
Edo State happens to be a very dirty place.
Okay.
A very dirty place. If we are to choose our governor, I don't think we'll be talking about PDP or APC or any other person. We should be looking at the people behind their back.
Okay.
The people backing them. What is this called? Obaseki is there. Oshomole is there as what? There are lots of any profitable help to us at Edo State. I'm from Edo State, sorry to say.
Okay.
There are lots of any help to us. So if we are to vote, if I should have the power to vote, I won't look at the PDP or the APC as a party.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's our opinion. Very valid opinion. And go ahead, John.
You know, marrying it to what I was saying earlier about issue-based campaign, and not just about the rhetorics, the sophistry of going out there to the podium, mounting the podium and start saying things that you know you're not going to do. It's about the practicality of governance, which could be seen, which could be measured in practical terms, that okay, this government was in place for so this party was in power in the state from this time to that time, and this is what they did. And those things will be on ground for everyone to see. That's governance. So whenever we have these elections coming and campaigns start, you will see it's the same thing, because at the level of the political parties, they don't have anything to offer. They are just there as special proposed vehicles to bring in some opportunities to power. And once they get to power, they forget about the people. That's the problem. So we are looking at a time, because every time the people have the opportunity to go to the polls again to elect someone of their choice to come and rule them, you find out that some dynamics will now change, that in many instances, those who will emerge as leaders might not really be the choice of the people. Hence, we keep on hammering all the time on the issue of free elections, because the mark of democracy, the liberal democracy that we practice, one of the cardinal points of it is free elections. When elections are free, then you will know that at the foundation of that recruitment process, that the right individuals are brought forward to serve the people, and then you start seeing what we call the dividends in place. There's no reason why, like in Edo State, for example, you'll be having issues of maybe infrastructure, education, and all sort of things, like other states in the country. There's no need, there's no reason for that, because like you mentioned earlier, this is a state that's very strategic in this country. Some of the best brains are from this state, from Edo State in this country, and you could see them, what they have done both here in this country and across the world. In different parts of the world, anywhere you go to, you must see somebody who's from Edo who is doing strongly and very, very credibly well in this. But why can't these things be replicated in terms of governance, so that you can bring? Because if you go to the say 18 local governments, you know, you have serious issues of infrastructure in terms of connectivity, roads and everything. You see the same old story. I know that some of the roads are federal, but they still can do. For example, if you are coming from Kogi State, for example, and you are going to the Benin Okene, Okwela, Awuchi road going to Benin. I know it's a federal road, but the states too can also look into it. Even some of the trunk B state roads that the former government did, if you go now, they are in a state of disrepair. Talk about water supply, potable drinking water, you know, sir, around that people should have access to. What about education that people should have access to? Today, it's all about private schools all over the place. Even basic education that should be the responsibility of the state. It's not there. If you go to state-owned schools, they are just dilapidated, no equipment, even to pay teachers. It's a very big issue. If you go to the local government system, these are issues. And we are supposed to have gone past this level as a country. You know, a country, October 1, this year, we'll be talking about 64 years as an independent president. If you juxtapose that against human beings, somebody who is 64 years, the person has seen why he should have been able to achieve quite a lot in life if everything, if all things being equal, you understand? So a country that has gone through the process and is now 64 years, both at the national level and at the state level, they should have been able to do something. We should have gone past certain levels. It's not all the time we are having an election, I will build road for you, I will do this for you. The same thing, the same mantra all the time. We should be talking about advancement in technology. We should be talking about how to increase the quality of life of the people. Not the same basic life, average life that Nigerians are used to. It's the same basic life we manage all the time. People that are even working in the states as federal, as state civil servants, you are talking about even the minimum wage. There is still the issue of a debate whether state will pay, even though it is already a law. But I can tell you that in many parts of the country, nobody has received 70,000 naira now as minimum wage. We should have gone past this level so that when you work anywhere in the country, whether you work in the public sector or in the private sector, you know that whatever you earn should be able to take you home, and take at least, you should be able to use about 30% of your salary to take care of your bills. Then you can save the remaining part of it and then use the other one to run for their month. Next month again, you save. So that at the end of the year, you can have a savings. That is life. That's where people live. They're not in a situation whereby you earn, whatever you earn cannot even do anything for you. You are living in overdraft all your life. That's the plight of Nigeria. That's the plight of people that live in different states. That's why you see everybody is trooping to the FCT, to Abuja, simply because the economies in the states are basically dead. And you have government. It's only those people that are in power and their cronies that enjoy whatever is agreeable to the states.
Okay, let's take this caller, John. Hello, good afternoon. Please, you are on to the Polity from KAFTAN Television. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, my brothers.
Good afternoon.
My name is Emmanuel.
Okay.
Concerning the issue of Edo State, I want to tell you that we are tired of all these things that they are doing every day, every year. I want to tell you that since 1999 there is a group of people in politics in Nigeria. This one will live for this one. If it doesn't favor this one will move to this party. Look at all of them, from APC to PDP, from PDP to APC. It's supposed to be like that. And these are people who are not also have the quality to rule this country. They are just there for their own personal interest. I told one of my friends that the democracy, the full meaning of democracy now is for the group of people, by the group of people, and for the group of people. I think that's the full meaning of democracy now, because the same group of people that were in the APC, people that moved to the PDP. There are some people that was in PDP, they are moved to the Labour Party. People protecting themselves. Why the masses are there suffering?
Okay.
Last time I saw Adam Asomole was eating corn in the market. When last they went to the market and eat corn?
Ima, thank you, Ima, for your perspective. Ima has redefined the meaning of democracy.
Yeah, according to Ima. Democracy according to Ima.
Democracy according to Ima. Now, yeah, that's another time with Ima has given us a new perspective.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
So, you talked about articulation of programs, you know, manifestos by political parties and even their candidates beyond the rhetorics of the usual things of sinking borehole, I'll give you roads, I'll give you refinery. And that is why, abroad, the democracies will copy, they organize debate so that, people can come, on live television to articulate what they want. And, at times, a few, media organizations will be represented so that they can even ask questions. Here in Nigeria, we have seen debates that was organized, particularly for this EDO election. And, two candidates shied away from it. Only the Labour candidate did appear. Showed up. And, even during the campaigns, we have not heard much from the APC candidate. Adams Oshomole has been speaking for him. And I'm asking this question against the backdrop of, the factors that ensure victory. Do debates, I know abroad, debate hardly win elections. In Nigeria, do we really need debate at this level that we are now?
I think when you want to vie for public office, you are stepping out to be counted. And it's important that the people know you. And the only way the people know you is to hear from you.
From you, directly.
So when they hear you speak, either during a campaign tour or a debate, it's for them to first of all size you up, based on the questions that will be thrown to you, whether the way you compose yourself in that kind of atmosphere, your ability to articulate issues. So it will also count a lot in convincing different individuals that this candidate might be the candidates that we have been looking for, or might have those qualities that we are looking for. So it's not about somebody going to speak for you as a proxy in look at the US campaigns.
Yeah.
Even when people are just coming maybe to introduce certain items. Then once it comes to the crunch issue of the campaign, the candidates will appear and speak, because it's going to be your policy. It's going to be, you own up to every policy and any policy that you promulgate during your tenure. So, as like you mentioned the candidate of the APC, yes, you don't have to allow to be appearing at campaign grounds as a proxy while someone else is speaking on your behalf. There's no need. You see, even if you have party chieftains who may want to say one or two things, it's okay at least to add content to the campaign. But when it comes to the crunch issue, in fact, those kind of appearances should be brief.
Yeah.
Then the main floor should be reserved wholly for the candidate to speak. So it is not when other people come and speak everything, the candidate just come and whisper and leaves. That is not it. That is why we're saying that there is a need for us to take a serious look at the democratic process. We've copied all these things from outside the country. Currently, we practice the Washington model, or the presidential system, the bicameral legislature and everything. But are we copying the way they run their own democracy in terms of transparency, in terms of issue-based? From the time Biden stepped aside, you can't hear Biden speak again, even though once in a while he will give a word of support. But the people who are on ground, who have the feet on ground, going from place to place, are the candidates. They're the ones talking. They're the ones. So we want to see them, and everything you say, they will hold you accountable.
So you agree
at the time? You agree that debates are important, but they might not be enough to win elections.
But they can change perception.
Yeah, they can. They are important because people want to hear you.
They can change perception.
Yes, you cannot rule the people by proxy. You need to come out. People need to see. People need to hear. People need to know you, to see, because you are coming out for public office. Now you don't have anything to hide anymore. So you come out and speak. Let people hear you. Let people articulate you. Whether this individual even has that mindset to be a leader who will be pressurized, who will go through the crucible, the good and the bad, and still stand for the people, or are you the person who might just fall under when pressure start coming from different angles as a leader? So the debate, the public appearance, we provide these answers for the people. Then they will not make up their mind whether you are the person or the other person. You understand? That's the essence.
I think, John, some people shy away from debate, particularly public debate, on account of for the avoidance of campaign slip-ups. And it's happened to the APC candidate where he was addressing a rally and he said, Edo people, I'm going to provide insecurity for you. And it was on live TV. How much of a damage could that be in Nigeria?
Let's not be fair. You know, no matter how good you are, how eloquent you are, you always make mistakes. Even during during the US during this current campaign, you know, Tim was, you know, in one of his campaigns, he even
the vice presidential
candidate to Kamala Harris. You know, when they were discussing the issue of gun violence, you know, he said something about when they come to power, they'll make sure that the kind of weapons that they carry in war, understand, will not be allowed to be, assault people will not be allowed, made available to the people. People now started blasting and say, no, you didn't go to, you served as a soldier, National Guard, but you never saw battle. Because he said, we carry in war.
You never saw battle.
It means he was somehow assuming that he actually went to war. You know, so but the people say, no, he didn't go to war. But
it also means we as Americans.
No. At the end of the day, you know, when they tried to cover it up, they now saw that there was no way out. He had to own up that he served, but he never saw battle. And that matter, everybody knew that it was a slip up, and that matter ended. And nobody wants to focus on that anymore because the matter had been cleared. So naturally, there could be some kind of slip ups from anybody. However, and people will understand. But the issue is that what's the volume of your slip ups?
Okay.
Because when the slip ups become, you know, part of you, and becomes a very big issue. Just like the current U.S. president now, Joe Biden. You know, after the issue of the debate with Trump, that now, you know, made his party to say, no, you know, we don't have serious confidence that if Biden becomes the candidate for the party, that he will win. So they started asking him to leave. You understand? So that someone else can come in who is a little bit more coordinated. Now they gave him another chance during the NATO summit to cover up, to make up. But during that NATO summit, he had more slip-ups. So at that point, people say, no, this is it. You have to go. So when you have slip-ups, it's natural. But when it becomes a very big issue, the volume becomes something that's an issue. At that point, people now start having doubts about your even mental competence. because for you to be a leader, your mental competence must be pristine. Because it is the mental competence that will even help you to articulate. Clarity of mind. So if you have issues, your mind is clouded by so many issues, you know, you understand. So it's going to be, but in here, we don't put all these things into consideration. We don't. A candidate might not even appear, you know, in any campaign. I might still go ahead to win an election. The people will be appearing on behalf of him as proxies. He will still go out and win. You know, so but the issue of debate is very vital in the democratic process, but it's not that debate itself will win the election for you. Beyond the debate, you still have to go out there and convince the people. But debates are very important for the people to assess you. That's the way I look at it.
Well, in the past, you know, there's general voter apathy in Edo State. Do you envisage voter apathy this time around?
Voter apathy is a general malaise in the country. If you take it from the general elections, the same thing. If you take it again at the state level, the same thing. In fact, in the last annual election, you could see the margin that even the person that won the election with a very small margin in terms of the number of registered voters and those who actually showed up to vote. So the apathy is there, I will understand. You know, it's because of that widening gulf between the people, you know, and those who step out to lead. You know, people believe that it is not more about us. Even this election that we're talking about now, for an average Nigerian, election is just like, okay, let's just go there. You understand? I was watching the wife of the candidate of the PDP. That's the wife of Aso Ighodalo. You know, she was also on a campaign trail. She mounted a vehicle and she was throwing things. Whether it was Indomie, whether it was biscuit, I couldn't, but it was just with some kind of this bako bag. She was just dipping her hand into the bako bag and was throwing things to people, at people like that, whether it was Indomie or whatever. So I was like, what is it? What is it? We now turned democracy into things like this. You go and pick up a carton of Indomie or somewhere, you put it inside a bako bag, you mount the top of a vehicle, then you say you are going to campaign and you are flinging it at people to be picking. What would this thing do for them? Is that a real thing? Even if you don't come with those things, you might not need to come with all those things. You don't need to come with anything to the people. It is only when the people vote you can now show them you really are careful. You don't need to even take money to any campaign. You don't need to bring anything wrap or rice to anybody during a campaign. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is to go tell the people how you will serve them when you are elected. That's what. But here now we have turned it into transaction. People are going to campaign. They will buy bags of rice. They will be giving people one mood, one cup, this and that. I'll be giving you wrapper. At the end of the day, for them, they have settled you with those small peanuts and crumbs. You have been settled.
You have been settled.
Now we say the National Assembly is the people's parliament. So now, and during National Assembly elections, like presidential elections, National Assembly, the candidates go around the whole country trying to campaign. But when they're elected, you can't even go near their office. You can't. You can't go. I know that for security reasons, there's serious security at National Assembly, but at the time they will say go to the constituency office and see them. But why can't the people also have access to their legislators in Abuja here, or even at the state level? Why? You can't. You voted for somebody to become a house member, either at the federal level or at the state level, but you cannot access that person. Even at the so-called state legislative offices, if you are not somebody who is somewhere up there, you can't even access them. Access them at that level. But they can come to you and drop things for you and give you crumbs. But you cannot access them physically to say, okay, this is what we want physically. You can't. That's not democracy.
You cannot.
You know, in the US, the capital that everybody knows about in Washington, some days are open.
Yeah.
Where the public can access the capital.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
So, but we don't have such things here in this country. We don't have such things here in this country. Even the White House, some days it's open. People can enter into there because it's a public building.
Exactly.
But as we speak today in Nigeria, do you even know the location of the Aso Villa?
No, you can't.
It is anywhere you can walk out in this Abuja and you see Aso Villa physically.
You can't.
Is there anywhere you can walk out
to see it
with your physical eye?
No,
but number 10 Downing Street.
You can snap it.
It's on the street level.
Yes.
You pass.
That's where the
president lives.
10 Downing Street.
Washington Street the address is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's the address of White House.
Yes.
On the street.
Yes.
And I think like on Wednesdays or so, people are allowed to have limited access to the public areas of the beds here. So you see, once these people get the power, they lock themselves up. Then once it's campaign time, they had a dialogue with the people, like what the callers talked about, Adam Tushemola going to eat corn. When was the last time that he actually bought corn to eat in real life?
In real life. Because he's not standing for any election.
But because that still tells you that the people are still important. So it is still the people that will have to do the right thing in terms of selection. Even though, yes, they are using coercion and everything to intimidate the people, and they are also weaponizing poverty to also make the people even weaker. Because once you weaponize poverty, the people are weak. They become very weak.
Okay. Now, reports reaching us indicate that INEC has deployed over 5,000 bimodal machines, that's beavers. And preparations have been concluded. INEC said they don't have any glitch and they don't envisage any kind of challenge from their own part. What are you hearing on ground as far as the level of preparedness of INEC is concerned? You know, in terms of
what happens is that, preparatory to every election, you always hear from the election umpire, INEC, that they have done everything. Recently, about 2 or 3 days ago, at the Abuja airport, sensitive materials were being flown to those states where they will be distributed to the racks, and then from there to the polling centers and everything. Yes, we are aware that these things happen all the time, but the retest of whether their preparation prior to the election was actually solid will be the election day. And it's going to start from number one, the opening of the polls. If you say you're opening the polls at 7:30, 8 o'clock, whatever, at 8 o'clock, 7:30, how many polling stations across the state will be open at the same time at that 8 o'clock? Because we have also had these issues, especially in remote areas where you hear, oh, we did not have access. If it's a place where you have to go with maybe speedboats or boats, like in Edo State, there are riverine places too. Have they been able to make sure that these things have been taken there, so that when the people come out by 8 o'clock, when the polls are supposed to open, that there will be people there to attend to them? Not when you get to 11, you are still waiting. At the end, some elections will now be postponed to Sunday, and then it will delay the collation and delay the announcement of the stuff. So the preparation it's not about what you have said, it's about what happens on the day of the election. How ready are you for the election will be determined on the election day. And the first thing that people will give you the pass mark is the opening of the poll.
Yeah.
How many of your officers were at the polling station when you said that you are going to open polls? How many of them? That would be the first thing. Then the second thing again will be the beavers that you just mentioned now. Because with the electoral law, using incident forms, is like an outlawed thing. So everything has to be electronic as far as that beavers is concerned in terms of of entering the figures of the election. You understand? So it's very vital. If you were to be like in the old time, even if the electronic aspect didn't work first, it's okay, let us use the incident forms. But the subsequent electoral laws have actually outlawed incident forms. Yeah. So it has to be the beavers. So the beavers must work. So it's not tomorrow when somebody is about to be accredited, then the beavers will start behaving somehow, and they will say, it's okay with electronic gadgets. They can malfunction, we have backups. Then you wait forever for the backups to come. What about the training?
Yeah.
The training is very vital because sometimes again, ad hoc staff, because of the rush to bring in ad hoc staff from everywhere, you find out that the trainings are not deep enough. So during the election proper, you see a lot of mistakes because of the lack of the training of the personnel. And if something happens, the INEC will start denying, that person is an ad hoc staff, it's not our staff. Do you understand?
I do.
Then we talk about the remunerations of those that have been called in to serve, mostly the ad hoc staff. Because I have seen situations whereby some ad hoc staff, after working, will now start protesting that their allowances were not paid or have not been paid.
Okay. I just want to let our viewers know that the telephone number is still on your screen. Please continue to call in so that you can share your perspective with us. Tomorrow we're going to open the studios here. Myself and John are going to be here from 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll give you bit by bit happenings as events unfold in Edo State. John, let me ask you, talking about media now, we're going to open the studios tomorrow. Give us, in the build-up to the election, which is going to take place tomorrow, give me an assessment of media coverage across the broad spectrum of media platforms.
The coverage, if it's about media, the coverage is huge. Because normally before now, INEC will have to accredit the media. So since like some time ago, you see the portal for accreditation has been open, and if you go there, you see a lot of people, both local, international media, conventional media, online media. Everybody is interested in what goes on in there because it's the news. Edo State is the news. The lead up to the election and the election proper, and then what happens after the election is the biggest news in the country now. So every media house, both here in Nigeria, even across the West African sub-region, Africa, and globally, they're all interested in knowing what's going to happen there, simply because that is the news. So in terms of media coverage, there's no lack there. Edo State is not lacking. This election is not lacking in media coverage. It's going to be covered bit by bit, and it's important. Why it's important is because when you look at media coverage, media also helps in terms of holding the authorities accountable. Because both INEC, the police, the army, all other agencies who are also participating, that this election is being watched by the whole world. I know this issue of IREV, transmission of election result, read time, it's also going to play a very big part here. And if INEC again, what happened in 2023, issues stories started coming, then this fear again will come up. Because up to now, INEC hasn't, even as we speak today, been able to wash itself out of that blame. That part of the problems of the 2023 election, general election, was because they were not able to upload these results from the polling stations real time as was promised. So I know that in the last election in Edo State, they did it. And I believe that this time around they're going to do it because it's very important. And because they know everybody's watching. You have observers from every part of the country, different groups, even outside Nigeria, coming to observe. So I think everybody is supposed to do what is right because it is well covered by the media, it is well observed by different observers, different civil society groups all over. So I think the authorities should do that so that at least let there be something positive coming out of Nigeria. I have to say the last day election was given a good pass mark. So I want this to happen too. you know, this time around, that this election too should be given a pass mark, where all the people who are supposed to do the right thing will do it.
Okay. We will talk about, okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. You are on to the Polity Live from KAFTAN Television. Your name, please, and where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm Sule. I'm calling from Sokoto.
Oh, Sule from Sokoto. Go ahead with your perspective, please.
Yes, you see, they said my people die for lack of knowledge. It's just like what this the other person, Mr. Okoro, said.
Yes.
You see, poverty has entered us. I've been going for so many elections as an observer. As an observer, you see people, they sell their own birthright just because of soup, Maggi, and stuff like that. Then at the end of the day, they will say, INEC has done it wrong. Just like even the last election that happened. At each stage of election, they have agents. So you have the paperwork, and you have the beavers, the IRS. You transfer to maybe the IRS. Okay, if assuming the IRS did not even the network is bad, but you have the paper to back it up. You have the paper to back it up, the result sheet rather, to back it up. So what are we saying? Except if the agents sell the party. As you contest it, well, because you have the result sheet. Thank you.
Thank you, Sule from Sokoto. You have heard him, but let me ask, before I ask you this question, I want to say that police has deployed 35,000 personnel in addition to another 8,000, you know, from sister agencies like the EFCC and Civil Defense Corps. Can this deployment be able to stop or curb vote buying? That will be my next question, but I'm going to ask Okoro after this short break. Please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Polity Live from Abuja, the nation's capital of, you know, where we have King Adebayo Film and Theatre Network. That is KAFTAN Television. And the program is The Polity. My name has not changed. It is Macualey Hunohashi. And with me is still in the studio. He has not left me. Is John Okoro, our in-house KAFTANTV analyst and you know, strategic communicator, as well as the editor and anchor of Abuja File, KAFTANTV's Abuja File. We're here taking a look at EDO elections, which is slated to happen tomorrow. All eyes are on EDO. Before we went on that short break, John, I wanted to ask you, 35,000 police officers on ground, you know, in addition to 8,000, you know, personnel from sister agencies like the FCC, and the army has also joined, and the CDC. Chief of Defense Staff, CDS rather, General Christopher Musa, has, you know, issued the riot act against people who think they can do anything untoward that is antithetical to the expectations of the election, which is credible election. And vote buying has always been a problem. We know our Nigerian politicians, we know how they behave. They have their own characteristics that is fixated. You know, vote buying. Do you see vote buying taking place in this election?
Yes, I see it taking place, seriously, because it has become part of the election landscape in this country, vote buying. And these things, they evolve. If you look at it the way it used to be, it was not done openly. It wasn't done openly. You know, maybe they will monetize certain things, buy certain things, and go and drop there. But you know, the politicians now, came out with they invented another strategy, which is now this vote buying, simply meaning that they will come with a huge, volume of money to the election ground and openly give money to voters to entice them to vote for their candidate. And in fact, they were also able to devise a means to ascertain that the people they gave the monies to voted for their candidates. They were able to get those things, and we've seen these things play out. We've also seen situations where law enforcement agents were also deployed to curb this vote buyer, and they were not able to do so. Yes, we could see pockets of arrests here and there, but if you look at it again from a general point of view, you find out that whatever the security agencies did in terms of curbing the vote buyer or at least stopping them to a level was just like a little drop of water in the ocean. So I don't see, because like we said, whether we like it or not, the elites, the politicians, they have weaponized poverty in this country, and they use it against the people. Like the way things are today in this country, do you know that a voter might just walk to a polling booth to go and vote tomorrow simply because he or she heard that he will get 2,000 naira. 2,000 naira. That's maybe rumor mill within the community. This party will come with money tomorrow, so please go there. Maybe if you go, you can get 2K. And people will leave there because that 2K, if they eventually get that 2K will go a long way to help them to survive for tomorrow. Either as individuals or even as a family. They will manage it anyhow than having nothing. So some people will troop out tomorrow to go and vote because they are expecting that somebody is going to give them money. And truly, people are going to bring money to the polling booth because it's part of the system. We've heard stories about how these things happen, and we've seen them happening in our own very eyes in this country. So it's not going to change. I'm not going to say anything change. Maybe you could have some people, maybe it could be reduced. You could, whether it's going to change, it's not going, because it has entered the electoral landscape in this country, the issue of vote buying, because politicians feel now that the only way they can outdo, after even going through all the stress of campaign, then they feel that the only thing they can do again is when they come to the election day proper, they have to come with money to the polling station. And it's something that's unprecedented in this country. When we started seeing them, it was like a joke. Things that we've never seen in this country happening, people coming to the polling booths with money, openly giving money to people to vote for them inside the polling areas. So it's something that, and I'm not saying it's stopping. As far as there's hunger in the land, as far as they have weaponized poverty and pauperized the people, it's not going to stop.
You have answered part of the follow-up question I wanted to ask, and I will still ask the question. It may rather sound hypothetical. What is that single thing, that one thing in the Nigerian politician that he will not do the right thing?
You see, it's because of where they are focused. The focus is the office, which is a film office. So they feel that whatever it takes to get, everywhere around the world, politicians spend money to get to the office, but they spend money legitimately. Everything that has to do with election funding is regulated. Even if you have these things, the laws are here in this country. Election funding, every time you have election, you see, for the president is going to be this amount. That's supposed to be the ceiling of your election funding and everything and expenditure. But at the end, and after the elections, the parties are supposed to retire the expenses to INEC. But I know that over the years, that hasn't been happening. And nobody cares. Who's going to enforce it? Who's going to enforce the parties? After the 2019 election, there were a lot of talks about parties retiring the election spending to INEC. But at the end, what happened? Who went there to submit the election expenses to INEC?
That plum job you talked about, to quote your phrase, the office, is supposed to be, let me put it in parentheses, service to the people.
Yes. Stepping out to serve is about selflessness and sacrifice. Yes. It's not about what you're going to gain.
That's true.
There is a classical story about a man called...
Before we go to that classical story, I'm interested in that. Let's go to the scholar. I won't forget it. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Before the John's classical story, please let's hear from you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Sani calling from Jos.
Sani from Jos. You're a regular caller. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
In the situation we find ourselves now in Nigeria, I don't think there is anything beneficiary or anything. We have, like, in short, we have no any confidence in politics anymore.
Okay.
They always deceive us. we found out that it's even better. The military system is even far, far, far better than this system of government, because we end up seeing lies, corruption, and insecurity. As in, like you cannot even count the problems. We are in hell. We have no any confidence in them. We have no confidence in them. Each and everyone you trust among them, you see, at the end of the day, he will show you that his true color. That is not after the country but the masses. All they're after is what they will earn and be living extravagant life, which is totally improper. Now, for example, this country that we have only this country, not any other one like this. If this country gone on fire, an ordinary Nigerian have nothing to lose, because he has no any hope in the country. We have nothing to lose, because in terms of education, medication, security, like social amenities, nothing to put on table and say this is accurate, nothing. Like we are now going backward. Nigeria is going backward, and everyone know that. Each and every single good Nigerian believes that we are now going backward in all aspects of life. I don't know what's the way forward.
Thank you, Sani.
We had problems, serious problems, serious.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Sani from Jos. You can hear the despondency in his voice, and he said he has lost confidence in our politicians. He also talked about military is better, but you and I know that there is no alternative to democracy. Military government is an aberration anywhere in the world. John, you're talking about classical story.
Yes, I was trying to talk about service. That service, to serve the public is about selflessness. It's about service. It's never about what you're going to get. I was not trying to make a reference to a classical story that was recorded by Roman historians about a man called Cincinnatus. Now, Cincinnatus was a local farmer in his village there in Italy, and Rome was in serious crisis. So they needed what they call a dictator. A dictator is not in the sense of what we know today, but the real word there means someone that will be given the power of life and death to save a situation. So Cincinnatus, another farmer, was called from his village and was given the highest honor of a dictator to help Rome, he was given the power of life and death to help Rome conquer its enemies and solve all the civil crises that they had then. And within a period of time, he did it. He was able to accomplish this deal. After that, what did he do? He went back to his village. He dropped that garment, went back to his village and continued his farming.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take this caller. Will Nigerian politicians do that? Let's hear from you. Good afternoon. This is the Polity.
Yeah, my name is Emeka. I'm calling from Anambra.
Emeka, go ahead with your contribution from Anambra.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure whether Nigeria will get it right. Why? Because from the top, everything is bad. Edo State cannot be different than other states.
Okay.
When you look at what is happening in Nigeria, as from top, everything is spoiled. The people that are on top, they are not doing well. How can the state will do well? Even though we look at the local government election that is coming up, they are not doing well. So what my advice in Edo State is, once you vote, go to your house, because INEC know what they will do. INEC don't know themselves. They know who they will give the vote for. You understand my point?
I do.
Because when you look at what is happening, if you look at what is happening in Nigeria, you know that no election will be free and fair in Nigeria. Because the top will take everything. I've told you that they have already write all the results and keep it. And now the next thing they will told you to go to court. And when you go to court, what is the court? Is the people that are up. So my brother, we poor masses are just suffering for nothing. Because I know that everything in Nigeria is already corrupt. And we can't see a better people to. Unless God will come down to Nigeria and say, look at what is happening. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Emeka, for your thoughts. John, you know, we live in a country where we have seen people, most of our politicians, they grow from penury to affluence. But is it possible to have a Cincinnatus, you know, spectacle in this country?
It's not. It was not in this country where a speaker of a state of House of Assembly was given the position of an acting governor because of the impeachment of a governor, and the speaker didn't want to leave the governorship position again. If you
Yes, tested. Why now?
Why no? You don't ask me now. Ask me again and again. Why?
Because he doesn't know. But you already just told me.
So, it was a war now to get the speaker out of the office of the
office,
where you are supposed to just hold power.
You are sat on that seat.
Yes.
And you're seeing the files, you're seeing the meeting, and you're asking him to leave. Why will he leave? Why will he leave?
I will leave. I will go with Cincinnatus.
Okay.
I'll go back to my farm.
Let's take this call. Whether it's going to be Cincinnatus. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity Live from KAFTAN Television. Please go ahead. Where are you calling from? Good afternoon, my brother.
I'd like to write you from Gumel, in our state.
Rabi, our regular caller from Gumel. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, let me start by saying the way to democracy is better than the best military regime.
Very well, very well.
Agreed.
We agree with you.
This we should know that the liberties and the freedoms that are enshrined in democracy cannot be over-exaggerated. So we don't pray and we don't hope for any military intervention in Nigeria again.
Oh, no.
People should be very patriotic and stop calling for military and other. It's not this. It's one step forward, two steps backward.
You're right. You're very correct.
Yes, but that is not an excuse for the Democrats or the elected Democrats to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You see, like this EDO election, if you look at it, many politicians have been calling for peaceful processes. Every politician will say, let there be peace in the election process and other things. That they should go further to implement. They should go further. Whatever they say, they should practicalize it. There shouldn't be two ways. People live in two lives. Politicians say that they are right there be peace. But when you go and see their preparations, I'm sorry to say most of them are not for peace. So please, we should, at least there should be morality, there should be for ethics in all what we do in our lives. So that this country, like I said, we don't have any alternative. God has made us here. He has created us in Nigeria. There's nowhere. Even those who are blessed with wealth that go to Dubai and all these places, definitely their nations are not in Dubai. They are in Nigeria. They are in the villages and towns. So whatever happens to Nigeria, it affects them. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for your perspective, Rabiu from Gumel, our regular caller. His perspective is always...
I used to know of a musician years back. They used to frequent Abuja here. They called him Musa Gumel.
Musa Gumel
was a serious musician.
Yes.
I don't know whether he's still there.
From Gumel.
It's been a long time, Musa Gumel was a great musician in the Hausa language.
Yeah. They have a very, very rich culture in music.
Exactly,
Well, let's go back to, you were talking about someone, that is how lucrative Nigerian politics is. I've asked people and they said the reason why there is bloodshed in so many elections is because of that office you're talking about.
Yes.
You're talking about a speaker who just tested the seat of a governor and does not want to abdicate.
Yes.
It's because of how lucrative that office is.
Exactly.
So it's supposed to be service.
Yes, it's
like
supposed to be,
yes,
like everything has to be service. It has to be service. When you come out, yes, politics is a game, but it's a game that is also played by the rules.
Yeah,
you know, you play politics by the rules, but here we have rules, but nobody plays the politics by the rules. Here in this country, and that is where the difference is between us and other countries. If you say you are going to do this during the election campaign, when you get to office, you have to do what you say you will do. But here, you could say anything, but when you get to office, nobody's going to hold you accountable.
You say what you don't mean.
Yes, you say what you don't mean.
Okay, let's take this caller. Good afternoon. This is the Polity Live from KAFTAN Television.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Sorry, this is Sani.
Sani calling back from Jos. Go ahead, Sani. It's your show.
Thank you. Well, you mentioned that, for example, about military system. So when we are to ask, what is one single good thing about this system of government, please, my brother? Now you just talk about bloodshed just because of position.
Yeah.
When it was military system, what was the position that made people to shed blood? Nothing like that. People are safe. Both life and properties are safe. We are living at least a medium life. We are trying to survive, but now we are not trying. We are dying now. Nigerians are dying. Everybody knows. What is good thing about the system of government? There is nothing good about that. Even you there sitting, if I am to ask you, what is good about this politics, please, or democracy system of government? You have no one single thing to mention. It is only corruption that is good in this system of government, because we know most of all these social amenities that we are even enjoying, part of them, military were the set of people who build them. Secretariat, barracks, roads, electricity, like in short, even most of the national hospitals, military were the set of people who built them. These people are just lying to us, cornering one billion to another, budgeting time by time, but nothing to put to see or nothing to put on table. Now when you go to even a public hospital, you regret of your life. If you don't have money, it means you are dead. Look, we are just deceiving ourselves. Well, it is not favoring us. It is not favoring us, please. Till we die all, look at the dying people are killing people for no reason. No road, no hospital, like nothing. Like, let me just say, just how many years back, 90s, I don't even know anything so-called generator in my area. I don't know anything so-called private school, private hospital, or anything like that in my area. But now, you have to even ask, where is the public school? When you go there, you may think whether they are rearing cattle or something like that then. Why these people that are lying to us, they get a good free education. There was a good healthcare system in the country. There was electricity, security, all those things were all in good condition. But look, we are deceiving ourselves. So we are living in this country. This is our country. We know what we are facing.
Thank you,
everybody knows.
Thank you, Sani.
Hapa.
Sani, I can feel the pain in Sani's voice. He's entitled to his opinion. And that is entirely his opinion, you know, comparing the two forms of government. But let me ask you, John, let's move away from there. We have seen a resident electoral commissioner being penalized in the past for election fraud. You know, in our journey, in our 20-something years of journey, this democratic dispensation, would they say there have been enough penalties for election fraud to serve as deterrent? But let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
You're on to the Polity, please go ahead. Your name?
Good afternoon, sir.
Go ahead. Thank you.
It's Abila from Lahia.
Abila from Lahia, could you raise your voice a little bit so that we can hear you loud?
Okay, let me shift this, sir.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Are you getting me?
Yeah, we're getting you. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
I really appreciate the program and also your colleague over there.
Thank you.
But my take this afternoon is we must change the narrative of the politics in our country. Look at what is happening in Edo State. So-called our leaders, they are moving around, insulting themselves, saying all manners of things. Can they call themselves leaders? And they are forgetting that one day, all what they are doing are going to leave this world. Whatsoever we are doing, we must give account of our stewardship here, whether here or in heaven. So they are you see, sometimes they move around insulting people, say all manners of things. Just as your colleague over there said, how can they just move around distributing Indomie as if we are better in our country? They should copyright from what Doradon is doing. We just go to the public and preach and say whatever he's saying and leave. We
start insulting ourselves. Just the way we are in the studio now, if you say something contrary now, they will insult you. They will look at you as if we are against their plan. So my call this afternoon, they should know that one day we will all die.
Yeah, definitely.
If our leaders, they will recognize that one day we will all die and will give up. They will do the right thing in this country.
Thank you, Abila.
So they should know that all what we have accumulated, one day we will all leave it there.
Thank you, Abila.
So I really appreciate your takes this afternoon.
We appreciate
and I
your
pray that God will bless you guys, continue to say the truth, continue to tell the truth.
We say amen to that, Abila.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much for your perspective this afternoon, live on KAFTAN television. The Polity. John, I was asking you a question. You know, over the years, you know, during we need this current political journey or experiment that we have we had enough penalties that will serve as deterrent? You know, there are so much election fraud. All elections come with their own different kind of fraud. Vote buying, you know, there's a reg that has been prosecuted. Have we had enough? Yeah,
I think there have been some pockets of deterrent here and there. You know, in the last few months or the last few years, just a pockets of it, but not enough. Compared to the volume of election-related malpractices across the spectrum in this country. That, you know, at the time they even campaigned for a special electoral offences tribunal that should just focus on electoral crimes or electoral offences and deal with, after every election we deal with that, and you know, but that too hasn't seen the light of the day. But you know, for me, my own take, well, you may not really have to do a special tribunal. A crime is a crime, and there's nothing you commit as a crime in this country that doesn't have a law that covers it. It's there in our statute books. There are laws. So the only thing is the will, the will power to really prosecute, to really go after electoral offenders, diligently investigate them, arraign them, prosecute them, and then convict them convincingly. That's where the will is not there. Because after every election now, both those who committed, even who killed people, because in election time, people are caught with weapons and people are killed. But what happens to those people at the end of the day?
Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity Live from KAFTAN television. Your name, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, KAFTAN television.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Chris. I'm calling from Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay, Chris from Lagos, Nigeria. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the program, nice program, educative program.
I appreciate you for calling in.
Chris.
Yeah, I want to talk about.
Could you please turn down the volume?
Somebody was talking about military government.
Turn down the volume of your TV set, please. And then go ahead.
Somebody was talking about the military government.
Could you turn down the volume of your TV?
You can go away from there.
And then move, or take some steps away from the television set, and then go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, make it in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so there hasn't really been enough deterrent in terms of conviction of electoral offenders. In Adamawa State, in the last election, we had the issue of a reg who usurped the powers that didn't belong to him. Well, where is he now? There hasn't been any headway in getting him to justice. His stories here, stories there, and that's he is just like a metaphor. The case of Hudu is a metaphor that you could use to ascribe to many electoral offenses in this country. So there hasn't been that will to really go after electoral offenders, to prosecute them and then let them face justice, accordingly.
You earlier alluded to the fact that, and you were so emphatic, that there will be vote buying because it has not, completely been erased from our process. Now, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission officials will be on ground, and it is only one state. What about 18 local governments or so?
18 local governments.
18 local governments.
Yes.
So which is so macroscopic as far as they're concerned. It's so small. for them to cover, saying there will be eagle eyes all over across the. What are your expectations from them?
I expect that they do their job to at least, because it's an aberration. It's a public spectacle of disgraceful and shameful proportion. You understand? To see people openly giving money out to people to entice them to vote for them during our elections. So it's something that is shameful. It's a shame of a nation. It's the height of decadence. It's the height of decadence in every aspect of morality, whether election or no election. So there's no serious nation that will allow such thing to thrive, to fester and thrive in a serious country. So there's a need to wipe it out entirely, totally.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. You are on to the Polity live from KAFTAN Television Studios in Abuja. Your name, please?
Good afternoon. It's me, Chris, calling again.
Chris, thank you. Now we can hear you loud and clear. Chris from Lagos, go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you so much.
We
Okay,
appreciate it.
one of the caller earlier mentioned that military government, military rule is better than the civilian that we are suffering now. I'm trying to ask ourselves, I know people will bombard that at this call. I'm trying to ask ourselves, have we asked ourselves the causes of our problem in this country? Was it the civilian or the military? Or is it our own selves? Because when we are doing the regional government, it was civilian, not military. And everything was going very well for us. When the military came in, they built refinery all over the places, and they were constructing roads, doing bridges, and so on and so forth. Building hospitals and schools. The same thing, the things we are exporting during the regional government, we are not exporting again. We all depend on oil. Today, there is no oil. There is nothing to export. We are holding the democratic elected government in place, or whatever government that is, we are only responsible. Fine, we know there is corruption. The beginning of corruption, have we asked ourselves, what is the beginning of this corruption in this Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for your perspective. We are winding down, John. I share the perspective of Chris, that it is not about the government system. The system.
Yeah.
It's not about the fact that we're doing parliamentary, presidential, military, or democracy. It is the people, operators of the system, that have the problem. I share the same view with him as we're winding down in 30 seconds.
That's
what do you think?
That's a fact. I think that the Chris nailed it there. However, returning to Edo State, I think tomorrow is the day, and we still implore the stakeholders, the INEC, the electoral umpire, the security personnel, the candidates, the parties, the voters, the cheerleaders, everyone involved in this election, that it is better for us to eschew, violence and embrace peace, and let this election be peaceful, credible, and violence-free, and whoever emerges takes over the power. And in the next 4 years, we want to see the dividends of democracy, being returned to the people.
Okay. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you very much.
In-house analyst and the editor and anchor of Abuja File and strategic communicator. Thank you for coming to the Polity.
Thank you, Macualey. It's a pleasure.
Tomorrow is the D-Day, 21st September 2024. Edo State people must come out en masse to do the needful by choosing or exercising their franchise to select the person that is going to lead them in the next 4 years. Otherwise, they will end up like what Plato, a great Greek philosopher, once said, they will be doomed under the rule of fools. Please come out and vote, exercise your franchise, and do the rightful, do the written, elect someone that you know is credible, that will bring you out of the woods. That's how far we can go on this package today on the Polity live from KAFTAN Television. My name remains Macualey Hunohashi. On behalf of our producer Ruben Wakala and the guys in the master control room, for me is bye-bye and see you next time.